Welcome to the Embodied Woman podcast with me, Rebecca Wilson. An embodied experiential space for you to drop deep into the wealth of wisdom within your being and activate a fuller, richer you. I am a feminine awakener, thought leader, embodied business doula, sacred business midwife, healer, and all-round medicine woman. I am here to guide women deeper into their essence and power, to activate their life force, awaken pleasure, and support them to live an embodied life. I will help you birth your visions, dreams, creations, desires, and sacred business into the world from an easeful, embodied, and rooted place within. My work supports women to become more available for life, love, relationship, connection, creation, pleasure, and wealth. I will activate you into self-leadership and self-mastery to truly live an embodied and awakened life. Welcome on the journey, my love. Hello, gorgeous. I hope you're well. Thank you for being here with me and the Embodied Woman podcast. Today's episode is really rooted in why it's so powerful when women gather together. But first of all, I just want to drop in and just share the profound honor that I have and hold deep in my heart for the privilege to be able to guide and support so many women in whichever way you are in my world, whether it be here in the podcast or connected on Instagram. Maybe you've attended a retreat, a course, a circle, an immersion. You've journeyed with me some way, somehow, through all space and time. I'm just so deeply honored to be part of your journey of awakening and be part of the journey of so many women's. It's a true honor that I hold very deeply and do not take lightly. So with that, a little emotional share from me, I wanted to share the power of women gathering. So if we rewind time a little bit and we arrive into the moments before COVID, before lockdown, up until this point in my journey of service and offerings, I had been working online with individual clients, especially women who had been to ceremony or circle or retreat with me previously. But I hadn't really stepped into the full expression of my online offerings and services like they are today. So there was a real gift in this time for me and my work. So many women reached out, wrote to me, will you be bringing your work online? We really want this space. We need this energy. We need those circles. And so the online space was born. And at this point in my business and in my creations, I was offering 6-week online intensive immersions for awakening feminine energy, womb activations, and heart opening practices. And I was also offering individual mentorships. And then I began to create the womb connection, womb awakening, feminine essence spaces of the monthly online circles and ceremonies. And if you've been in my world for some time, you may have attended one, you may have seen them or heard about them. They were such a powerful space. But as with everything, things evolve and change. And I held 2 to 3 of them every month throughout the 2.5 years of COVID, of lockdown, and so on. And they were deeply powerful for all of the women that gathered, and for myself included. But there came a point where I felt like I needed to let go of them, just to allow that energy to transform, to realign, and trusting, as I do with the cycle of creation so deeply, that energy that was poured into them would rebirth in a new way. And it was some time, and many women wrote to me and shared, we miss the circles, we want those ceremonies again. And so I begin to sit with, what is it that I can create that will bring that energy and that essence, but in a new way? And for me, at this point in my journey, in my own personal journey, but also in my journey as a space holder, I was really longing for an intimacy in the spaces I was creating through depth and connection. And I wondered, how could I bring the essence of the ceremonies and the circles that we were sharing and reform them in a way that served this new energy that I could feel that was alive and present in me, which I understand that it must be somewhere alive and present in the collective and in the women in my community. So as I sat with this and just allowed it to stir inside of me, the village was born. Well, she was seeded and she lived there for a little while as a seed in my womb space. And I recognized that the seed had been planted. I received the message for this offering very clearly. I just wanted to allow some space and time for it to truly ground and percolate and settle in my being, to get really clear on how I could bring this forward into the world. And surely as the creation process goes for myself, maybe you align into this too, the ideas, the offerings, it all just began to land in a beautiful way. And so I created the village. And I created the village, which is a membership community, a monthly membership community, to bridge the gap between these two desires that were living in the field of the women in my community and also for me. A space for women to gather, to rest in practice, in meditation, in movement, in ceremony, in connection, in sharing. And that space offers community. It offers deeper connection because it asks for women to step in a different way. The previous ceremonies that I were holding was just arrive, have the experience, and then that would be the completion. In this space, there is this space for women to connect, to share, to bring forward parts of themselves. We also have a space in a Telegram group, a private group for women to share in there, whatever is alive for them. And this community piece was really the piece that I was longing for myself. And in turn, so many women have written to me who are stepping in and joining us in the village that they were longing for that too. So these are all the callings, the yearnings, the longings that were living within me and within the space of my community that I wanted to be able to serve and meet in the most beautiful way possible. So within the village, there is this beautiful energy that we can begin to build and form. And the village just was so clear in its download, in its planting of the seed, because we are connected in a very different way now than we have been historically. And we're connected from all parts of the world through technology, through the internet, through being online. And I believe that is a truly powerful thing. And of course, there is a need for local community, for local connection, for your sisterhood in that way. But we don't always have access to connect with other women that are like-minded, that are on their journey of awakening in the way that we are in our own postal code area. So I created the village with the intention to hold this old way energy in a new way form, to bring together women, to gather them, to share, to connect, to share beyond just the practices that we explore. Maybe there's a new recipe that somebody has and they want to bring it into the group. Maybe they've made a piece of art or created something in their life that they want to share with their sisters. Maybe they have a question that they don't know where else to take, so they can bring it into that space, or they can ask another one of the women in the circle, do you have any experience with this? I'd love some support with that. And I wanted to bring that old way and that old energy into the new form, because this is the way the world is right now. So creating the village as an online membership allows this beauty of women from all across the world to gather, to bring such different, unique energy, essences, ways of being, wisdom, and so on. So this was one of the many reasons why the village was born. Another one is because I know firsthand the power of women gathering. I've seen it for many, many years now. And even before I was in this realm of work, of creation, I have been gathering with women in many different ways for the whole of my lifetime. I was in a dance academy when I was a young girl, all the way up into my late teens, early 20s, where we would gather as women going through life transitions. And it was much more than a dance school. We were a community. After that, I would gather with my friends, with the women that I worked with in my previous career as a bridal makeup artist. And I would also be gathering with lots of women doing their hair and their makeup for their wedding day. And it was this real point of gathering them at this rite of passage and being part of serving and holding space for them. So we can see here that this energy of gathering together and the power that is within that as women, I have been carrying throughout my whole lifetime. And maybe you've got your own experiences of that too. You can remember being, a young girl and gathering with your friends and playing dolls or Barbies or braiding each other's hair or telling each other stories. This is all the remembrance of that deep wisdom that lives within our bodies and our bones of our ancestors, of the women that walked these lands before us that did gather in that way. But here we are in the modern day world, in the modern day life, and I wanted to be able to translate that into a space that became accessible and available for all. So the village was born. Women gathering in this way just to be with each other heals on a deep cellular soul level. It heals them. It heals all of the women that they sit with. And that ripples out and heals all of the people, the places, the experiences that they interact with, that they have exchanges with, all of the places, all of the people that they are in a form of relationship with. This is the space for women to gather and to return to themselves whilst in connection and being held by other women. Because as women gather and remember to return to themselves, to remember to nourish themselves so that they can move out of states of depletion and that they can move into states of resource and vitality. They are better equipped, more full of energy for life and all that life asks of us, which it does, because that is what life is. That is what being a human in this human experience is. And if you're a woman that is in partnership, relationship, in motherhood, maybe even at your point in time where you're a grandmother, you are a woman in creation, in business and leadership, you're holding space for others, it's really important and vital to be stepping into spaces where you are the one that is held, where you is the one that is nurtured, loved, and just allowed to be, to give yourself permission to have space to be with all that you are, knowing that when you fill yourself up in that way, when you are deeply nourished in that way, you are the fullest, brightest version of yourself possible for everything that you have in your life. So I wanted to share a few of the insights, a few juicy insights into what women that are in the village are experiencing right now. They are experiencing a feeling of being more grounded and emotionally regulated. They are cultivating stability and safety from within their own body and being. They are experiencing a deeper connection to themselves, their body, and their pleasure. The women in the village are releasing patterns of seeking approval from the external world and arriving deeper into self-approval. They are restoring relationships to themselves, reconnecting to long lost and forgotten parts of their own being. They are reclaiming the parts that have been disowned, abandoned, or rejected. They are softening into their feminine and allowing themselves to be held. They are listening to the body-led sensations that are the wisdom of their own inner guidance. They are feeling heard, held, supported, and deeply seen. They feel safe to express themselves, to bring voice to whatever is present and alive for them. They are reclaiming their voice, expression, and deepening into easeful states of being. They are regulating their nervous system and learning practices and tools that can support them in day-to-day life. So when life moves them into a dysregulated state, which it will, because that's what life does, they are better able and more equipped to know what they need in those moments to return back into a regulated state of being, to become more grounded, more anchored. And this all happens from a place of being deeply resourced. They are becoming more rooted inside of themselves and centered within their own body. They are learning to give themselves permission to pour into themselves, to fill their own cup. And in turn, deepening into receptivity and being able to receive fully. And through all of this, they are better able to meet the waves, the challenges, and the conflicts of life from a regulated, grounded, rooted place. So I welcome you, my love, to join us in this sacred space. The Village is a monthly community membership. We gather live once a month for an online ceremony, a space of connection, of sharing, meditation, practice, movement, sound, so you can deeply rest, nourish, and receive. You will also receive access to a pre-recorded recording once a month, which will hold the energetics and the theme of whatever is present and alive in the collective, within the lunar cycle, to deeply hold you through these many transitions of awakening that we are all moving through at this time on Earth. You will also receive access to the group Telegram, and this is the space where women connect, share, build and form the village and the community. And you also receive access to a wealth of my online courses in our online course portal. So you can dive deep into practices, meditations, embodiment, yoga nidra, body scans, journal prompts, soul awakening activations in the time and space in between the moments that we gather together live. All of this you receive for £44 a month. If you can feel that calling in your heart, in your body, in your womb, I welcome you to join us. We'll pop the link for you to read more about this offering, about this space, and to join us in the show notes. If you have any questions, I am always available to connect and to share. You can reach me on Instagram, which is at Rebecca_Wilson_. I love connecting with you all. If this episode has resonated with you in some way, or you feel it will resonate with another sister in your life, please do share it. Share it far and wide so that the message can reach all the women it's meant to reach. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this space, of my community, of this time where we're gathering as women to reclaim and remember our power and to awaken deeper into our inner wisdom. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. If you loved this musing and sharing, I would love for you to share this episode far and wide. You can arrive into all of my offerings at rebecca-wilson.com. Links to dive deeper with me are in the episode notes. Remember, my love, you are here to be the fullest, most potent, powerful, embodied version of you. I am here to guide you into that. Hey love, I'm dropping in here to welcome you to join us in our online community membership, The Village. I created this space for women to gather, to return to themselves, to deepen the connection and the relationship with self, whilst held in a community of like-minded women walking the journey and the path of their own awakening.